Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Monday episode of the Daily Betslip. Myself and Peter Dewey back for the second straight day, and we are here with some fancy new graphics. Wow, look at this.
Look
Not
professional, dude. We look
good.
good.
Do we have fancy graphics, but I've added things to my background. Shout out to Atlantic Canadian Beer. Not sponsored, but figured I'd dress up my background a little bit. New look, new week. Also, I'm sporting a fancy, sexy little shirt. I'm on top of the world today, Peter. How are you doing?
Dude, I'm doing good. You got one up to me here today. I wasn't prepared for all these. I was prepared for the new graphics for the show, but you really took it to the next level. So, salute to you on that for sure.
Yeah, we couldn't have new graphics and then just have my same old background. So, new background, new graphics, new shirt, new show, new week.
New man betting NBA now?
Am I betting NBA now?
Yeah, are you a new man? Now NBA guy Iain MacMillan?
I am going to bet it. I do occasionally bet it. Will I watch tonight's game? No. But that is our game of the night. Of course, the Heat and the Celtics. Game 4?
Yes, sir. Game 4.
There we go. Game 4 tonight, Heat and the Celtics. Obviously, we're going to give it our best bets for today across NHL, MLB, and NBA. We're going to take a look at some of your best bets that you sent to us on Twitter. And we are also going to talk some AL and NL Cy Young Awards. All of them we're not going chalky with our picks either. Some guys a little bit further down the odds list.
Not at all.
So let's get right into it. But we are obviously going to start with. And by the way, if you're watching this on Twitter, head over to YouTube. You can join the live chat. Yes. If you have any picks or any questions for tonight's games, let us know and we'll go over them. But usually we start off the show with a bad beat of the day. We're going to change things up. Let's get some positive vibes going. You had a good beat of the day last night.
Yes,
which actually is kind of a bad beat. Like if you're on the opposite side, you are on the good side. So it is still kind of a bad beat. It's just you were on the right side of it. So tell us about it.
Exactly. So for me, it was a good beat. For anybody who had the under on Klay Thompson's assist yesterday, very bad beat. Warriors were up 7 with 11 seconds left. They were just dribbling out the clock last night. And Klay Thompson drove to the rim. Mavs collapsed on him, and he just kicked it to Draymond Green for a wide open layup. Got his third assist of the night. So it was a bet. I had written it off dead inside a minute. I was like, there's no way they're just going to foul. And then they decided not to foul. And then Klay gets the ball and he gets the assist. So literally perfect scenario. One of the ones where you're like, okay, for all the bad beats you get, when you get one of those, you're like, hey, you know what? It kind of evens out. It definitely doesn't, but it feels like it does. So it was good to be on the right side of that one yesterday.
Gambler giveth, gambler taketh away. Bad beat for anyone who's on the under 2.5 assists. Great beat for you. I didn't have any bad beats, but it is kind of worth noting. I was on fire with my NHL playoff picks. I was up like 5 units, I think I was. I nailed Blues at 2-1 on Thursday night, and then since then, 0-6. Haven't won an NHL bet since then. So 0-2 on Friday, 0-1 on Saturday, 0-3 yesterday. So it's tough.
Oh, man.
6 straight back. Bounce back tonight.
Really? Yesterday? I thought, you took totals. I thought you bet the Lightning yesterday, but you took a total, right?
I chickened out and I took the total, which was
okay.
I went 2 overs and I went Hurricanes. So,
listen,
0-3.
Igor might be back. The Rangers might be back. I'm just going to say that now. They might be back.
No, let's not get crazy now. But let's move into our best bets of the day. As always, we're going to start with the community picks. We sent out a tweet to all your best bets. Let's go through testing ones today, and a few that included some breakdowns. So I'm excited to get into them. Let's bring up the first one if we can. Jeff from @Jeff off the shixt. Drew Smiley over 4.5 strikeouts plus 106 against the Reds. He says, simply put, the Reds suck, especially against lefties. Smiley isn't great, and he has only had 4 Ks. He's only had more than 4 Ks once this year, but I'm basically betting on the Reds to continue to be terrible. So it is obviously a little bit of a risky bet with Drew Smiley only hitting over this total once this season. But if you're going to bet on a team to do it, the Reds are probably a good bet to do it because they are right now, I'm just looking at it, 28th in Major League Baseball and strikeout percentage, striking out on 24.9% of their plate appearances. Any thoughts on that, Peter?
Yeah, no, I don't hate that one. Because I don't think you can blindly fade the Reds anymore. They've won 6 of their last 10, so I don't mind going to a prop to kind of fade them because they still stink. I mean, they have the worst ERA in baseball. Like you said, they're one of the worst offenses in baseball too. But so I don't mind getting creative here because at some point you knew they were gonna win a few games, just baseball. Like you have long
Yeah.
ass seasons, you're gonna eventually walk into some wins. So fading them on the run line is kind of gone away after that was so profitable to start the season. So I don't mind this finding an alternate way because they really are so terrible.
Yeah, I agree. They still fade them. This is probably a good way to do it. I mean, Drew Smiley, he's going to hit over 4.5 Ks at some point this season. Good time to do it is when he's facing the Reds. So I agree with that pick. I like it, Jeff. Shout out to Jeff. Let's bring up pick number 2 from Mitchell Blair at MBlairYQR. Jays can't score runs and they face Michaelis tonight. Take the under in St. Louis. First of all, how dare you?
I was gonna say.
I am a little bit torn though. I'm a huge fan of Miles Michaelis, but also I can't support this bet. What was his name? Mitchell Blair. I cannot support this bet against my Blue Jays. Are the Blue Jays bats a little bit cold? Yes, but I mean you can't say they can't score runs. Vladimir Guerrero, Bo Bichette, Springer, they got one of the most talented offenses in all of baseball. Every team, every offense is going to go through a little bit of a cold streak. They're going through a little bit of a cold streak right now. That's okay. Third toughest schedule in Major League Baseball so far this season. They are going to get hot. They will get hot. Is tonight the night that they get hot? I don't know. I mean, to be fair, I think Jose Barreto is going to have some positive regression, and I do like Miles Michaelis. So, I mean, you didn't say to take Cardinals on the money line, so I don't actually hate this pick, but you saying they can't score runs hurts my feelings, to be honest. But I do kind of like the under.
The 7.5, it's 7.5 right now. A win that kind of gets me a little nervous because Barrios has been up and down. Like he has like these really good starts, and then he has these starts where he gets shelled. So
yes,
I don't know. The Blue Jays offense is due at some point. I don't know if I'd want to bet an under with them. I'll probably just stay away from this game if I'm being honest. So it feels a little trappy to me. That it feels like the perfect storm. Oh, the Jays are slumping, and Mike O's has been great. It's like this is the spot where both things don't happen. So I'm probably going to stay away from them. But I don't hate the thinking. It's a good thinking. I will say that.
Yeah. I don't hate it. I think we are going to get a good game. I think Barrios had 2 very bad starts and has kind of skewed his stats a little bit. If you look like game by game, he's had more good games than bad games this season. So I like the under. All right. So let's move on to pick number 3, community pick number 3. I believe this is another baseball one from Mike at Trip McNeely 23. Rockies at plus money if it is still even there. The Pirates should be favored against no team with players ages over 14. I will say I was on VSiN last night, their late night show with Greg Peterson. We talked about this game, and I agree. I have no desire to rush to the betting window to bet on the Pirates against any team as favorites. But the Rockies stink too. So even though they're plus money, I don't really know if I'm, running to the window to bet on the Rockies either. My lean in that game would be more towards the over 8.5. Rockies bullpen 29th in bullpen ERA, and I believe that's road bullpen ERA as well. Because obviously, whenever you look at the Rockies, both pitching and hitting, you have to look at home and away splits because obviously they play Coors Field, so numbers are a little bit skewed. Even on the road, the Rockies bullpen is bad, and this is just a bad overall pitching matchup between the starters. Chad Kuhl has allowed 5 earned runs in each of his last 2 starts. Brubaker has a 5.29 ERA, a 1.417 WHIP. So I think we're just going to see a lot of runs in this one. Even though the Rockies are plus money, they stink too. So I'm not rushing to bet on either team.
All right, we're on the opposite side of this one. I actually don't mind the under in this game.
What?
I think Brubaker, when you look at his FIP this year is 4.18. So he's been a little unlucky. He's actually been very solid when you look at where he is in expected opponent batting average, and his strikeout numbers are very upper over the 65th percentile in both of those this year. Chad Kuhl's FIP 3.92. He's been one of the Rockies' better starters. I know he hasn't looked great of late, but the Pirates offense stinks. They're 29th in runs scored and 25th in OPS this year. So I think if you get a I feel like Brubaker is due because his numbers look horrible. But then you like look at his advanced stats and you look at his FIP and all this other stuff, and you're like, he actually hasn't been that bad. So I think 8.5. It's at 8.5 right now at win. I honestly don't mind the under in this game. I could see like a little 4-3, 4-2 type of game tonight.
All right. Opposite sides of that one then. Trip McNeely said Rockies a plus money. If you had to pick a side, which way would you go?
I'd probably go Rockies. The Pirates stink. I don't think I'd ever bet on the Pirates.
Yeah, I think
especially at especially laying with the Pirates. Hell no.
Yeah, my general strategy betting on basically for every sport, any sport that doesn't involve a spread, or I guess if it does involve a spread too, if it's two really bad teams, just take the underdog because I mean they're bad teams. Who knows what's going to happen? Yeah. You may as well take the plus money. All right, let's. I think we have one more. I believe it's a hockey one. I think. Sean Mitchelson at DeSox fan 24. Lightning minus 1.5 plus 195. Desperation equals early pulled goalie. Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna pull their goalie extra early because they're down. Because it's the elimination game. I mean. Every playoff game is just as important as the next one. But I mean, I don't necessarily hate the pick. I saw there was a rumor going around, and I'm going to talk about this game when I get to my best bets here. I saw a rumor going around. I don't know if you saw this, Peter, that there's a rumor that the Panthers were out partying last night in Tampa Bay.
I saw that. I mean, that tweeted.
Is that true? Like even outside from maybe they have given up on the series. Maybe they're not into this final game, but even from an employee standpoint, I feel like the Panthers organization would not be happy to hear that all their players were partying.
I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed, especially because it was, you have to play a back-to-back, which we talked about yesterday on Bet and Breakfast. It's not ideal scenario in the playoffs. You're playing a back-to-back. What are you doing? I mean, yeah, I don't hate this play because I feel like the Panthers are kind of out of it. It's they're just we'll mail it. If they're going to mail it in, then sure, you get plus 195 on the Lightning to win by 2. I don't hate it. I mean, I'm not a hockey guy, but it just feels like the Panthers are checked out at this point. If that rumor is true, and the fact that they're already down 3-0 anyway.
Yeah, I don't think the rumor is true. I think that's kind of wild. It would be funny.
Yeah, it seems like a lot.
In terms of the pick, I mean, if you want to get aggressive, I've been kind of liking puck lines in general. In the NHL this postseason because of, I mean, like I said, I don't know if they're going to pull it even more early because it's, an elimination game, but teams have been pulling goalies early. So it's plus 195. I don't mind that at all. But I'm going to talk about that game. I mean, I may as well
jump right into it.
Let's talk about some best bets, my friend. I'll do a little, let's just alternate. Let's just alternate back and forth.
Okay.
But I will start with the game that we were just talking about, Lightning against the Panthers. I am going to be on the Lightning as well, but I'm just going to take their money line. I'm going to be a little bit more conservative. Like I said, I'm 0-6 in my last 6 NHL bets. I don't really have a desire to get aggressive. I would just like to get a win, please. I was on the Lightning in the first 2 games of this series. I got off them yesterday because I thought the Panthers might win a game. It was a stupid reasoning. I took the over instead, and it didn't hit. So I'm going back to what I believe. I said this pre-playoffs. I said this right before this series. My prediction about the Panthers has come true. Their team's just not built for the postseason, especially against the Lightning. The Lightning is the worst stylistic team for this Panthers team because not only do they have good defense, their offensive players play well in their own end, and they have one of the best goaltenders in the NHL in Andrei Vasilevsky. It's just a nightmare for the Panthers, and if they can't score, which they haven't been able to, they're going to lose because they give up too many opportunities in their own end. They try all season. They've just been outpowering teams. You can't outpower the Lightning. You can't just outscore the Lightning every single night just by playing a high octane offense. You just can't do it. So Lightning are the better team. They proved it in the playoffs last year. They're experienced. I think now the Lightning, we'll see what happens in the Hurricanes Rangers game, but it's almost going to be like every series now for the Lightning from here on out is going to get easier. It's a very strange playoffs for them. I think they might three-peat. So I think they close the series out tonight in a sweep. I'll take Lightning minus 125.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. It just feels like at this point, sometimes you get that, especially in the playoffs, you get that 3-0, and it's just hockey's a little different because people have come back from that, but you can kind of tell when a team is not I don't want to say checked out, but they're just outmatched. they just haven't had anything for them in this entire series. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a sweep tonight.
Styles make fights. They say that
Yeah.
all the time in the UFC, but it's true for other professional sports as well. And it's just, like I said, and I've said this earlier, I think if the Panthers actually played the Leafs this series, it would have been a lot easier series for them. I'm having a bad hair day, Peter. I can't figure out what to do. Go ahead with your first best bet for tonight.
Yeah, so I'm going to do my MLB prop first. And full disclosure, I like brand myself. I'm an NBA guy through and through. I will watch the NBA no matter what. I've really only watched like Yankees and like a few primetime baseball games this year. But I was going back through, Ian, because we do our best prop bet of the day every day at BetSide. I am 12-3 in my last 15 MLB bets, up to 25-21 on the season. So not too bad. I will take that. I've been basically betting a bunch of pitcher player props. And so I'm going back to the well with another one tonight, taking Garrett Cole to record over 18.5 outs. It's plus 105. So basically this is, can Garrett Cole, and I know you weren't going to like this one, but it's, can Garrett Cole get through 6 1/3 innings? That's what it is. 18 outs, 6 innings, got to get into the 7th inning. You look at Garrett Cole's last few starts, he has recorded 19 or more outs in 4 of his last 5 starts, and he's facing an Orioles team that his last start against them, he went 7 innings, allowed just 2 runs. Garrett Cole got off to an awful start. His last 5 starts, he has been absolutely insane. He's pitched 32 1/3 innings over his last 5 starts and allowed 6 runs. So he's been fantastic. I think we're starting to see the guy that we all thought was the best pitcher in the American League, probably going into the last couple seasons. I think that guy might be back. I know you were gonna disagree with me, but he's facing an Orioles team who they're not as bad as I think many of us thought they were going to be coming into this season, but they're still not a good hitting team. They obviously, Cole has already had a solid start against them. So I like him to get into the 7th inning. And the other thing, the little caveat here, is the Yankees played a doubleheader yesterday. They also just lost Chad Green for the year to Tommy John, and Aroldis Chapman has an Achilles injury, might go on the injured list. So their bullpen is extremely short right now. I know Luis Severino got into the 7th inning yesterday, but then Jonathan Loaisiga got lit up, so they had to use more guys than they would have liked. So I wouldn't be surprised if Aaron Boone, if Garrett Cole has it going tonight, gives him a little bit of a longer leash just to try and save some of the guys in that bullpen. So love this prop at plus money for sure.
Your last point, I agree with. I mean, if they have a banged up bullpen, they're coming off a doubleheader. For that reason, I like it. But I gave up my underdog money line Monday pick today, and it's the Orioles. So I still don't believe in Garrett Cole. He's a bum. I'm gonna just stick to the narrative that he was only good because of the sticky stuff. He might win a Cy Young this year, and I'll still be like, nah, he's no good. He was only good with the sticky stuff. I'm just gonna be married to that take and just die on that hill forever.
People were loving that narrative because last year, there was you could make the argument, oh, he was definitely worse without the sticky stuff, and then to start this year, it was like, oh my god, he stinks. And now the last 5 starts, it feels like everybody who had that take is now like, we might have been wrong. He's looking like the same old guy again. So I think he has a nice game tonight. The
past few weeks, I've just slowly started to hate the Yankees fans more and more. There's no fan base that are more obnoxious when their team is good than the New York fan base, and I'm learning that living in New York. Oh, for sure, dude. Right now,
I think Philly fans might be worse, dude.
Who?
Philly fans might be worse.
I haven't experienced that.
Philly fans are bad, dude. They're bad.
All right.
Yeah, that's true. They're bad. Trust me. They're bad.
I don't think they can be worse than New York fans, but we'll see. All right, I'll go to my other pick for the other NHL game tonight. It's the Avalanche. It's the Blues. I've been on the Blues the first 3 games of the series. Going a little bit away from that this time. This time I'm going to go with the under 6.5. I know this is a little bit risky here because Jordan Binnington's out. But if you look at the analytics in this series, both teams have been playing a more defensive style of play. The Avalanche ranks 6th in this round in expected and goals for per 60 minutes at only 2.67. The Blues are right behind them at 2.63. So they're combining so far this series for an expected goals per 60 minutes of just 5.3. And then obviously the total is at 6.5 tonight. Like I said, I know Bennington's out. That's going to make a little bit of a difference. But neither team's getting a lot of high danger scoring chances either. Avalanche are only averaging 11.7. Blues are still averaging only 7.66. Avalanche are playing a lot better defense this series than I expected, so that's a big reason why I'm getting off the Blues train for now. I still think they can win tonight. I think they have a possibility to still win this series, but the numbers are telling me the under is a much better play. So I'm going to go under 6.5, minus 105 tonight between the Avalanche and the Blues in Game 4 in St. Louis.
I like it. You know, I'm going to trust you with these hockey picks. So,
all right. If I lose both tonight, I'm 0-8 my last 8, then I will be very sad. But
I don't think that happens. You got to. Today's the day you turn it around. I believe in it. I believe in it.
All right. With your next best bet.
Yeah, so I have 3 NBA bets tonight for our game of the night. So I'm going to share 2 of them now, and then I'll get into my best one later. First one, I'm looking at a player prop, Kyle Lowry, under 19.5 points, rebounds, and assists, PRA, minus 110 odds on that. This number actually jumped. He was at 18.5, and then Tyler Hero got ruled out, got bumped up to 19.5. He was at 17.5 in Game 3 when he made his return. He ended up finishing with 11 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, hit the over by 1. I was on the under in that game. But this postseason, been off to a solid start, 62, 49, and 1 in my best bets. Been betting on every single game, minimum of at least 1 play. So I like this under for Lowry for a couple reasons real quick. First thing is, in these playoffs, we have not seen him be nearly as aggressive, and part of it is his hamstring injury, which is another reason why I like the under here. But he's just not taking as many shots. Even in that last game, he played 29 minutes. Jimmy Butler did not play in the second half with a knee injury. He still only scores 11 points. Jimmy Butler's back tonight. Ball's going to be in his hands more, which means it's in Lowry's hands less. And on top of this, he only played 20 minutes in that last game. He played less than 30 minutes in both the games when he came back against Philadelphia. I don't think he is going to be able to play like big minutes tonight. I think they need him out there for the leadership and have another guy who can kind of orchestrate the offense if Butler's not in the game. But I don't think the Heat are, leaning on Kyle Lowry to play big minutes tonight. I think Gabe Vincent's been fantastic in the series. I think they like his fit defensively. So I wouldn't be surprised after this number rose. Like, I don't think Tyler Hero being out or changes what Kyle Lowry's role was going to be. I think Tyler Hero being out means we're going to see more shots from probably Victor Oladipo, maybe some more looks for Max Strus, or maybe Duncan Robinson sees some minutes in this game. But I don't think that changes anything for Kyle Lowry. So the fact that it moved up, I was going to take the under at 18.5. I love it at 19.5. I just don't think the opportunities are there for him. And when I normally on these PRA props, like, you either want a guy who is going to kind of, he's going to score a certain number of points, or he's a double-digit assist type of guy. Lowry hasn't been either in the playoffs because of the injury. So it's very volatile. I'll take the under.
I mean, it's a former Raptor, so the Canadian in me my feelings are a little bit hurt, but I don't have any numbers to argue with you.
It's fair enough. Listen, I like Kyle Lowry. If he wasn't hurt, it would be a different story. But hamstring injuries are tough. It's real tough.
All right, I have more to say about that matchup, but we'll wait till we get into the game of the night, and we'll talk about it then. Why don't you actually just give out your next NBA play, because we're going to talk Major League Baseball in the next segment. So then my baseball pick, which will be my final best bet for tonight, will just lead into that. So go ahead and give me your next best bet.
We're all about the segues here at Daily Betslip. So, my next one, I'm taking Boston -6. I bet this morning before Hero was ruled out, so now it's at -7. But I still like it either way. The Celtics, after a loss this postseason, are 4-0, and they are 10-1 in games after a loss since January 21st. They have been dominant. Like, they bounced back, and they've been dominant basically since January, middle of January. Overall, I believe they're 34, 35, and 10. This is a crazy record. And yeah, Game 3 did not go. I don't think I was on the Celtics in that game. I don't think it went how any of us thought. But Jason Tatum got banged up in that game. Marcus Smart got banged up in that game. And the thing for Boston, they have won the majority of the quarters in this series. There's been 12 quarters played. The Heat have won 2. The Celtics have won, I believe, 7, and they've tied 3. So Boston's dominated the game. It's just in Game 1, it was the third quarter. They just got absolutely boat raced. And in Game 3, it was the first quarter. They just gave up a ton of points. So I'm still in on the Celtics. I wrote something today at BetSide. I think all things equal in terms of health, I think they're still the best team left in the playoffs. Defensively, they just have too much they can do in terms of switching with different guys. And then obviously on offense, they are one of the few teams that really has, between Tatum and Brown, two guys that you can rely on every night are probably going to get you around 20 points. Tatum had like an all-time bad game. He was 3 for 14 in game 3. That's why they lost. No hero tonight is it hurts the Heat offense because Jimmy Butler is banged up a little bit. But you take out Tyler Hero, who averaged 20 a game in the regular season, won 6th man of the year. And I've been saying this all series, like the Heat are playing roulette with their role players to see who is going to be the guy who steps up. And Bam Adebayo had a great game in game 3, but we haven't seen him do that consistently in the playoffs. So unless that happens again, Miami's going to have to find points from somewhere, and their number 2 scoring option, the guy who's second on the team in points per game, is out of the lineup. So that makes me a little nervous for Miami on the road against the Celtics team that's great after a loss. So I'll lay the points with Boston.
Who would you say is out of the lineup tonight for the Heat?
Tyler Hero.
Oh, okay. What was, and there was line movement because that announcement today, wasn't there?
Yeah, it went from 6 to 7 because of that.
Oh, good point. Interesting. All right, more on that game in a little bit, but we're going to talk a little bit of baseball, including my final best bet for the game. I gave it a huge underdog earlier today, Orioles. So I'm going to go with the favorite tonight, the last game of the night, actually. The Mets against the Giants. I guess I'm just fading New York, I'm just realizing, because I'm going to go with the Giants in this one, minus 140 against the Nets. We talk about FIP quite a bit, and if you don't know what that is, it's field independent pitching. So what a pitcher's ERA would be with a baseline average defense. 2 pitchers tonight going against each other that have the complete opposite ERAs and FIPs, in the sense that Alex Cobb for the Giants has an ERA of 5.61, but his FIP is all the way down at 2.67. So he has got some bad luck. Yeah, an insane difference. Usually you don't see that big of a difference.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Insane difference between his ERA and FIP. Almost 3 full runs. So he's had some bad luck on defense. So his actual pitching is much better than his ERA indicates, where I think we're going to see some positive regression coming from him. And the opposite is true for David Peterson, who has an ERA of 1.89, but a FIP of 3.36. So the complete opposite stories between these 2 starting pitchers tonight. I think the odds makers know that. I think that's why the Giants are favored. I'll take them to beat the Mets tonight at minus 140. Any thoughts about that?
I like that play a lot. I did not realize Alex Cobb. That's crazy, because if you just look at his surface numbers, his ERA, you're like, oh, he stinks this year. Right. That is not the case. Holy crap, that's crazy.
So before we get into, because we are going to talk some Cy Young bets, with these fancy new graphics, we have recap graphics. Let's take a look at our best bets for tonight. Boom. Those are my picks on the left there. I'm on Lightning minus 125 against the Panthers, under 6.5 between the Avs and Blues, and the Giants minus 140 against the Mets. I did also, like I said earlier, give it Orioles a plus 260 as my underdog pick tonight if you want a little long shot. Peter, you on over 8.5 Garrett Cole strikeouts. Not strikeouts. Over 18.5 just outs recorded. That'd be a wild number for strikeouts. Under 19.5 PRA for Kyle Lowry, and then you're on the Celtics minus 6 against the Heat in tonight's game of the night.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Let's talk some Cy Young winners.
Yeah, let's do it.
We're into the full swing of the MLB season. Obviously, we have a feel for at least somewhat how these pitchers are going to perform this year. So let's talk a little Cy Young. Let's start in the National League. Peter, why don't you go ahead? Who is your best bet right now to win the NL Cy Young Award?
Yeah, I'm going to roll with the guy that I took at the beginning of the year. I took Zach Wheeler at the beginning of the year. I bet him to win Cy Young. He's now moved back a little bit in the odds at plus 1,500. I still think there's value on him here. He got off to a really slow start. We mentioned Jose Barrios as a pitcher who got out to a slow start, and Garrett Cole, another pitcher who got out to a slow start. But 2 starts are not going to define your season. That's kind of what happened to Zach Wheeler. His first couple starts looked really bad. But since then, his last 4 starts, he went 6 innings, 1 hit, 7 2/3, 6 hits, no runs, 5 1/3, 3 runs, 7 innings, 4 hits, no runs. So he's pitched his last 4 outings over 25 innings, only allowed 3 runs over that stretch. And one of my favorite things, if you've never checked it out, this is a great resource for betting. Go to Baseball Savant, MLB.com. It's all of their advanced numbers. And if you look at Zach Wheeler's profile in 2022, he is in the 54th percentile or better in every single major advanced metric, which is a crazy thing because like you'll see guys who are in, they're positive in like 7 or 8 of these things, and then they have a couple that it goes from red to blue, and it'll be blue, and they're like, oh, they don't have a great whiff rate. Like he is on the better side of everything. His expected weighted on base percentage this year, he's in the 73rd percentile. On top of that, his barrel percentage, 78th percentile. People are not hitting him hard, even though he gave up a bunch of runs early in the season. And then one of my favorite things, because he's going to need to strike guys out. It's one of his primary ways of getting out. The chase rate, he's in the 90th percentile this year. He is a great, great pitcher. He almost won the Cy Young last year. I think you're getting a little value on him here where I think he's kind of figured it out. And the other thing I've been trying to put into my handicapping for some of these baseball awards, Ian, and I'm interested for your take on this. We had a shorter spring training this year. So a lot of guys have come out either slow out of the gate, a little bit of rust, especially pitchers. So like I'm kind of like throwing out the first couple starts of a year for these guys because I mean, they had a couple tune-up outings when they're used to having a couple months because of the lockout. So I think Zach Wheeler, he's now back to, I think he has a 3.49 ERA. So like very respectable considering he had starts where he gave up 7 runs in 3 innings and one where he gave up 4 runs in 5 innings. Like other than that, he's been really, really good this year. So I like him still. I'm going to ride with my original bet to win the Cy Young.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I agree with you. I think there's some guys who we've seen play better in previous seasons that have gotten off to slow starts, and I'm kind of being a little bit more forgiving of those slow starts this season, except for Garrett Cole.
Yeah, I mean, I knew you weren't going to be forgiving of Garrett Cole, but that's fine. That's why I didn't put him on. That's why I didn't put him on, though. See, I'm thinking here. I wasn't going to have you poke holes in my argument.
My NL pick for Cy Young, for the NL Cy Young, is also a guy who got kind of off to a slow start, Walker Buehler. So what's interesting about him, he's at around 8-1 to win the NL Cy Young award. He was my preseason pick, much like Zach Wheeler was yours. His fastball has been terrible this year. I wrote an article about it that BetSided yesterday. I think his ERA, teams are batting like 380 against his fastball or something. Like his fastball has been terrible, but what's impressive that his fastball has been bad, but he's still pitching very well. 2.89 ERA, so only like 0.4 runs worse than his ERA last season, and he finished 4th in Cy Young voting last year. Reports are coming out that he's been focusing a lot more on his delivery with his fastball, that he's in the process of fixing it. If he does fix it, and he has a 2.89 ERA without a fastball right now, toss in his old fastball with all the other stuff, and he's going to prove in a big way very quickly. So I still think there's some value on him at 8-1 to win the Cy Young. He's still a very young pitcher. He's only 27 years old. He's only going to get better. I don't think it's a matter of if he's going to win a Cy Young award. I think it's a matter of when. So fix that fastball, and you're going to be on track to your first Cy Young award this year, I think.
I like that a lot. That's actually crazy. So he's basically been like I'm assuming he hasn't been throwing it nearly as much because people are hitting it so well. So that's crazy. That's impressive that he's pitched that well, kind of like having to use – I know he throws a cutter and stuff, so just having to kind of go off speed. That's really impressive.
Yep. It is. So tossing that fastball is going to be even more dangerous. All right, let's switch over to the American League. Peter, who you got for the AL Cy Young?
Yeah, this one, I'm going with a little bit more of a long shot. 12-1, I'm taking Shane McClanahan right now. And it's another guy who the advanced numbers love and the actual numbers as well. He has a 2.33 ERA so far this season. He struck out 12.6 guys per 9 innings. He has 65 strikeouts in 46 and a third innings. But Shane McClanahan, again, I'm going to shout out Baseball Savant because if you are an MLB bettor, you need to get on this site. It is extremely important. It helps you kind of take matchups, and instead of looking strictly at this team versus this team, you kind of see whole season. What does this guy do? What does he do, relative to all things being equal? It's super important because that's kind of what you're trying to figure out when you're trying to find some value here. So Shane McClanahan, 92nd percentile in expected ERA, 97th percentile in K percentage, 92nd percentile in expected batting average against, 92nd percentile in expected weighted on base percentage, 97th percentile in whiff percentage. Like, that is dominant stuff. I don't know if you're going to find a guy who is doing that right now in baseball. And especially because the Rays are a good team. They're going to be a playoff team this year. And he's the ace of that staff right now. So I really like him. Especially like his ERA is low, but his FIP is also low. It's a 2.69. So he's not getting lucky, and he strikes out a ton of guys. On top of that, the only thing that concerns me with him, barrel percentage in the 33rd percentile. That is a little bit concerning. He's allowed 6 home runs this year, but he's allowed 6 home runs and he's only allowed 12 earned runs total. So if he's going to give up a bunch of solo home runs, it's whatever at this point. Like, his ERA shows he's not getting rocked. So the other numbers, really the one that stands out to me, the whiff percentage is just crazy. Like, he is going to strike out a ton of guys this year. So you're going to get a guy who probably is going to be in the mid double digits, maybe even push 20 wins because he's on a good team. And then on top of that, ton of strikeouts, really good advanced numbers, solid ERA. I like Shane McClanahan a lot.
Yeah, I like him too because he was my preseason pick. So I thought about talking about him on the show. He kind of stole the pick on me, but he was my preseason pick. I think I got him at 20-1 at the start of the year. So
Nicely done.
And he's on my dynasty baseball team. As much as everyone likes to talk about hear everyone else's fantasy teams, I could rant about Shane McClanahan. So I scouted him, drafted him a year ago. My pick, no surprise here, probably Blue Jays, Alek Manoah.
I figured you might go this way.
Yeah, he's still at 15-1. I think I wrote an article about him like a month ago saying it's time to bet on Alek Manoah to win the AL Cy Young. He is right now 4th amongst all Major League Baseball starters in ERA at 1.62, 3rd in the American League behind only Justin Verlander and Michael Kopech. What else more is there to say about him? He's in his 2nd year. He already has a 1.62 ERA. His whip is 0.880. Only gives up 0.5 home runs per 9 innings, and he doesn't walk a lot either. Only 1.6 walked batters per 9 innings. So I have nothing else to say about him. His numbers are fantastic.
Yeah, the numbers are there. There's a lot of guys. The American League was tough after we decided in the segment, I was trying to narrow it down. I was like, you can make the argument for a lot of guys in the American League right now. Like, it's Shane Bieber's up there. You mentioned Verlander and Kopech. I believe Dylan Cease is up pretty high in the odds. He's been striking out a ton of guys this year. Yeah. I know you don't like to hear it, but Garrett Cole has rebounded. So there's a lot of guys where you can find some value on the Cy Young list in the American League for sure.
All right, let's switch back over to the game of the night. Let's talk a little NBA. Miami Heat against the Boston Celtics. I'm just going to start off with what my pick is, because then that's going to lead into my question. Then maybe you can help me out here a little bit.
Yeah.
So my best bet for the game, I'm on the Heat. Give me the Heat +7. I am confused, and I want you to clear this up for me. I say this every show. I'm not an NBA guy. I've watched probably a total of between 30 and 60 minutes of NBA all season. The Heat are the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. Is that correct?
Yes.
So they had the best record in the East. They're winning this series. I understand that Tyler Hero is out, but even when he was in, they were 6-point underdogs. Why is this spread that big? Have the Heat not done enough? Have they not proven to people that they are a legitimate basketball team? This seems easy. And then on top of that, everyone's on the Celtics. Why? Even I look at the statistics. I'm not just going to bring this pick out of nowhere. The statistics, the Heat are either better than the Celtics in most stats, or if they're not better, they're like right below them. So why is the spread so big? Why is everyone on the Celtics?
I said it earlier. The Celtics are the best team. If they stay healthy, they are the best constructed team left in the playoffs. And
so then, why didn't they finish with the best regular season record in the East?
Regular season just doesn't matter as much in the NBA. It doesn't. And Miami went crazy for the regular season. Boston started off really slow. Like, you look at any Celtics number post-January, like, they've been the best team in the NBA since January. Like, it's not particularly close. And the big thing, I think, too, is Boston was number 1 in defensive rating this year. They were number 9 in offensive rating. They're the only team left in the playoffs, and I believe it was just them and the Suns, if I remember correctly, were the only 2 teams that were top 10 in both offensive and defensive rating during the regular season. So even though Boston had that slow start, they still finished there. But the thing with Miami, and I know I've harped on a lot, but like it's just the question of where the point's going to come from, because Bam Adebayo, who averaged 19 a game in the regular season, been super inconsistent in these playoffs. He had single-digit scoring in games 1 and 2. Then he scores 29 in game 3. So like you don't really know what you're going to get from this Miami team. Victor Oladipo has been up and down. Max Strus has been up and down. If Jimmy Butler, I mean, he's going to play tonight, but like if Jimmy Butler isn't putting up 25 plus points, like Miami is seriously in trouble on the offensive end, and Boston doesn't give up any easy baskets. That's why they have the best defense. And my thing with the Celtics, and it's another reason why I'm on the Celtics, Boston, you can't play the Celtics off the, like anybody on Boston off the floor with a specific lineup. So they are so elite defensively because Marcus Smart, who won Defensive Player of the Year, is their point guard. And normally for teams, you can switch onto point guards with bigger players, wing scorers, for example, Jimmy Butler, and you get a mismatch. You can't do that with the Celtics. So they are able to switch literally every single screen when their best defensive lineups are on the floor. And that makes it really hard because you're not finding, a mismatch every single time down. And it also allows them to keep their best players on the floor for the majority of the game. Like you're going to see Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart probably all play 35 to 37 plus minutes tonight. And the last thing I will say is it seems like a lot of points. I get that in a playoff game against the Celtics team that, it seems like these teams are evenly matched, but Boston, like I said, they don't lose games. They haven't lost 2 games in a row all postseason. They've only lost 2 games in a row one time since January. Boston's last few wins by 25 in game 2. They beat the Bucks by 28. They beat the Bucks by 13. They beat the Bucks by 8. They beat the Bucks by 23. Like when Boston wins, they win going away. Like this, they have not played a lot of close games other than game 1 of the Nets series in these playoffs. So I kind of think that this is the right number with Hero out, and especially with Butler dealing with an injury, Kyle Lowry dealing with an injury. I don't hate backing the Heat if you really believe in them, because obviously you're getting the 7-point cushion, but I just think Boston after a loss is the right side to be on tonight.
The Heat should bring back Birdman.
Birdman Anderson. That's a good one. He was on the championship teams. He was on a couple of the championship teams.
Probably the year basketball the most. All right, we're running out of time here, Peter. We only got a few minutes because I got to get ready for Green on the Greens here. So give me your best bet. You already said Celtics. You already said Kyle Lowry under PRA. What's your third and final? Is this your best bet of the best bets?
This is my best bet of the best bets, yeah. And so I've been fading Miami in the other 2, but this one I am going to back the Heat. I'm taking Jimmy Butler over 35.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He is playing tonight, even though he left game 3 with right knee inflammation. And this one's really simple. I'm not going to go too deep into this one. Jimmy Butler has cleared this number in his last 7 games pretty easily, too. And this number was as high as 39.5, I believe, entering game 2. And they dropped it all the way to 35.5 because he got hurt. Listen, if we know Jimmy Butler, if Jimmy Butler's playing, he's playing. Like, he is going all out playing. There's no, like, Jimmy Butler at half speed tonight. Like, if he's healthy enough to play, he's going to play. And he's going to play probably 35-plus minutes. He's averaging over 25 a game in the playoffs right now. So I think the fact that Tyler Hero is out, it's going to mean more scoring for Jimmy Butler, probably just more Jimmy Butler with the ball in his hands, which is going to lead to some more playmaking opportunities. So like I said, before he left game 3, he had cleared this number in 7 straight games. So I've been on his points, rebounds, assists multiple times in this postseason. I really like it here. This is a discount, the fact that it's this low. So I would take it even if Miami doesn't win. I think he gets there.
I think he clears that number with points only. How about that?
Now, if he does that, then Miami might win the game. If that would be great for your Heat bet.
Night, you heard it here first.
I don't hate it. I'll take it if I can win some bets. That's fine by me.
All right, so I am on Miami +7. You're on Jimmy Butler over 35.5 PRA. Last thing we got to do is check to see who the community has said we got to pick. The community pick for the game of the night, and they are on the Celtics -7.
Love to see it. People agree with me.
Peter's trying to double up on your bet. I will not be betting on them because I'm already on the Heat. So unfortunately, I will not be I don't know about unfortunately. We'll see. That makes me more confident with my Heat pick, to be honest.
Oh man.
Do we know how the community is done with these picks? We should be keeping track.
I think Ben is keeping track. I think he might have the record. I don't have it off the top of my head. All I know is we're just gonna have to do the Iain versus the community here. That's just what it is, I guess.
Yep. I'm fading the people today. I will stick with my Heat bet. I would usually just blindly fade the community, but if I do that, then I just lose no matter what happens. So I will stick with my Heat. You are going to now double up on your Celtics pick. In the game of the night, Game 4, Heat Celtics. I will not watch it. So I'll be watching the NHL.
I will be. It'll be a fun one.
So there you go. There's our show. Thank you for everyone for watching. Like, subscribe for watching on YouTube, and stick around because in 15 minutes I'll be going live with Cody Williams for this week's episode of Green on the Greens to talk the Charles Schwab Challenge, and of course a little recap of the PGA Championship, where once again my heart was broken on a Sunday at a major championship. This time by Matt Fitzpatrick. So. More on that in 15 minutes because I could rant about that all day. And then tomorrow, Daily Betslip, it'll be Ben and Reed will be on tomorrow, so be sure to check that. Any final comments, Peter?
No, let's just hope everybody's bets hits. Gambler bless, as you would say.
Gambler bless. Go Heat, go Orioles, go. Good luck with all your picks tonight. I hope that I do not lose. Go 0-2 in hockey again. Thank you all for watching. Good luck with your picks. We'll talk to you next time.